asking and stating the fact that consumers at the end of the day are affected, even while giving an example regarding how a bucket of paint could become affected due to these tariff increase. Of course, Donald Trump, the US president, said yesterday that he will increase this global tariff he imposed a day earlier from 15%, starting from 10%, so another 5% increase, even while there is an adverse ruling at the Supreme Court. And you were hearing Norman from DC. I want to understand what are your views regarding this matter. Even the tariff issue, it's a very old issue, but is now starting to affect common Americans.
Yeah, well, a tariff is a tax. The taxing authority in the Constitution is reserved to Congress. Trump defied that law, and under the Emergency Economic Powers Act, imposed tariffs, these massive tariffs that he tried to twist people's arms and get them to obey. His contention was that this would force people to buy more American products, that our trade deficit would decline. We now have the data for the last year in which the trade deficit in the United States has increased. The trade deficit with China has reduced marginally, but all the other countries saw this as an opportunity, and companies that were importing goods saw it as an opportunity. So the trade deficit has gone up. And that was totally contrary to the policy intent that Trump had in mind. This new 10 for 15% tax is from a 1974 law, 1974, okay? So 50 years ago, this law was enacted to deal with emergency powers and emergency situations. And once again, Trump is seizing on this old law for a short period of time, 150 days, to try to show that he is a strong man capable of imposing his will. But trade depends on predictability. Trade depends on the parties, the buyer and the seller, understanding what the terms of trade are going to be. If you have a guy who is unpredictable, and a country which is unpredictable, the United States, it's going to have a significant effect on the world trade situation. And it's going to lead to confusion, because we talk about the tariff, and let's take a look at any company here that's selling goods to the United States. Let's say a ready-made garment factory is selling goods to Walmart. Last week, they signed a contract with a certain specified price per unit based upon the tariff structure. That structure's gone away. I mean, there's no, Walmart's not going to reimburse RMG factory in Bangladesh. And trying to get your money back in that situation is going to be very costly, time-consuming, and in the end, also unpredictable. So while we have this enormous uncertainty, always uncertainty with Trump, of acting arbitrarily and outside the law, I think that even this Congress, he's making a State of the Union address, and he'll complain against the Supreme Court and everybody else. This is a problem of his own making. And as Norman has indicated, this is a year for a by-election. Congress every member of Congress is up for election. And 1/3 of the Senate is up for election. This is going to be one of the hammering points that are going to come up for sure. And so I think they simply have to somebody, because Bessent agrees with Trump totally, the Secretary of the Treasury, but if they have to get into a situation where we are on stable, steady ground for trade relations, you can't have this unpredictable, spasmodic kind of activity which is going on.